Karibu sana. I have already introduced you in your absence.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. So I
So
can just
please,
kick off.
please.
Okay, awesome. Just a moment. Let me just share my screen and then we can proceed. Okay, share that. I hope you can all see my screen. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, hi everybody. I don't know how you guys were introduced, but my name is Karim, a cybersecurity expert here in Tanzania, with over half a decade of experience in a lot of things. So that will include vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, digital forensics, you name it. I've been there, training, public speaking, um, everything in that space. I've been there, podcasts. So I've been doing a lot of things. So recently I got the honor to meet your mentors, if that's the right word to use. Um, and I was asked to come to, give a presentation, give a talk on, anything that's going to help you, the mentees, rather, to, excel in cybersecurity. And one area that I thought all of you are going to benefit from is majority of the people have been talking about how to get started into cybersecurity, the skills that you need, to thrive. But not a lot of people tend to tell you how do you excel in cybersecurity. So I decided to take that upon me to try and help each and everybody who has managed to attend this session to be able to become the next Dr. Bright, the next Eve Kilel, the next Laureen, you name it. I'm here to give you some pointers which are going to help you thrive and grow and excel in cybersecurity in general. I'm not really sure on what you guys are seeing. Is it on presentation mode? Sorry. Can somebody
No,
just
it's
confirm?
not.
It's not. Okay.
Not.
So let me just reshare again and I see if it's gonna get back to presentation mode. So just give me a moment, please. Okay. Slideshow. Share. Okay, I don't know what's happening. It's not sharing really. Screen. Okay, let me just do entire screen. Okay. Share that. So for some reason, let's see if this is going to work. Um, okay, perfect. So yeah, so as I said initially, so I'm gonna take you through, as I said, how are you guys going to thrive in cybersecurity? So there are particular steps that an individual needs to go through in order to, get to that level of Dr. Bright and the likes. And we are going to discuss them here in a few moments. So the first step that you need to do, especially as a beginner, is number one, you need to master the fundamentals, right? That means you need to understand how things work from the very get-go. You need to understand different type of operating systems, how they are connected with each other. So, for example, if I'm not really sure if you guys have started using Nmap as a scanning tool, but you need to understand at the base layer what does Nmap do in order to get live hosts, open ports, etc. So that type of knowledge is very important for you to have in your arsenal, right? You need to build your foundation because at the end of the day, you cannot defend what you don't know. So it's very important to really master the foundation and the fundamentals in cybersecurity. So starting off with have an understanding of different operating system, because we all know that if you interact with Windows, it's going to be totally different with the way you interact with Unix systems. So when I say Unix systems, I mean Kali Linux and the Mac operating system. So it's very important to know how to interact with those systems. When you come at the network level, you need to understand how computers communicate, or let me say devices. How do they communicate? How do they know if a device is alive or dead? So up or not running. Things like that. It's very important for you to have such type of understanding in order to thrive in cybersecurity. So that's what the first slide is talking about, right? Then we go to the next slide where we encourage people to be curious and keep on learning, because this industry of cybersecurity, it never let you as a cybersecurity expert to rest, simply because even the cyber criminals themselves, they're not sleeping. So you need to keep on learning, keep on trying your level best to be up to date with what's happening in the industry, so that you are able to protect the different systems that are in place. Apart from that, you need to be able to ask questions. Me and my couple of friends in Nairobi, we tend to joke that there's never a stupid question, but there's always a stupid answer. So basically, what we're trying to say is always try your level best where you don't understand something, ask different type of question, and you're going to get an answer, hopefully, from the individual you're trying to acquire the knowledge from. So it's very important to ask questions. If you don't ask questions, then no, everybody's just going to assume that you're okay, you're perfect, and you know you understand what you're doing. So whatever you do, you need to ask questions. Then you need to take a step further, and as I said initially, you need to stay up to date to what's happening around you. Like, for example, right now the big buzzword that everybody's talking about is AI. So you need to know in AI what's happening in that space right now. Just from apart from AI, people are talking about agents. Do you know what even agents are, right? So that's the aspect of staying up to date. How are cyber criminals using AI? How do you protect yourself from such type of attacks? Because right now we're talking about the next generation attacks, where cyber criminals are recreating more advanced threats like malwares, right, and viruses. So you need to stay up to date. How are you going to do that? So it's through security blogs, getting yourself into communities. You could get yourself into research, trying to look for vulnerabilities. Um, you could get certifications. Those are just a couple of ways on which you could stay up to date. And then finally, you should never stop learning. Once you stop learning, in the next few months, you end up being obsolete. So it's very important to keep yourself up to date. The next point, in order for you to thrive in this industry, is you need to get your hands dirty. Experience, experience, experience. I think most of us have already seen this in whenever we are applying for different type of job applications, right? So, for example, you'll find entry level cybersecurity role, they're asking for 2 years of work experience. Now, where do you get that? So, number one is through CTFs, through engaging with different platforms. Now we're talking the likes of Try Hack Me, Hack the Box. The old timers like me, we got started with VanHab. All these are going to help you sharpen your skills. The CTFs are going to help you to, get competitive and see what other people are doing. And then finally, if you've gotten to a level where you're comfortable, you need to start, building yourself labs, playing around with your labs. That will look like setting up a vulnerable machine on your network and setting up an attack machine and practicing how you're going to exploit it, look for the vulnerabilities, and how are you going to patch them. So all that is uh, in the objective of trying to get yourself the experience that is needed into the industry. Um, I think, not I think, I know majority of organizations tend to like to hire somebody who has some sort of experience. I know somebody in Kenya who got hired at a very reputable financial institution just because they were playing CTFs. I know multiple of them. So don't think CTFs are just games for you to just go and play around. No, this is the only way on which you can go and practice and gain your skills legally, because you cannot go around hacking people's systems. It doesn't work that way. Or if you want to, end up in prison, well, good luck. It all depends with your end objectives. But yeah, so you need to get your hands dirty, get your skills on check. Don't just base your ability on theory. So generally, that's what this slide is all about. Next, it's you need to join communities and collaborate. That's very important. Like I can't really stress on this, because from community you're going to be able to engage with different cybersecurity experts, right? Get let me say huge amount of wealth and experience from different experts that you wouldn't have gotten if you were a do they call it a lone survivor? Yeah, like basically doing things on your own, right? So it's very important to join such type of communities. In Kenya, you have She Hacks, you have Africa Hackon, you have CTF from. All of those are the type of communities that you guys need to join and just connect with people. It doesn't have to be for you just to get the skills. You need to connect with people, because at the end of the day, networking is very important, especially in Africa anyway, in our setting, the way our culture is, right? I think most of you have heard of the saying, your network is your net worth. Previously, once upon a time when I was a student, I used to think um, that it's not really of much importance when it comes to your career and how it's gonna help you grow. But after being in the industry for quite some times, I must tell you that it is extremely important to network, because it's people who open doors for you. One thing I like to tell people is, in Africa in general, you could find the person who is getting all the jobs. Let me just assume that the person is an entrepreneur. The person who gets all the jobs is the person who is well connected and knows people. So it is very important. I can't stress on this. Network, get to know people, get yourself out there, get noticed. Very important. Apart from that, you need to try your level best to attend events, because events such as we in Kenya have beside Nairobi, you have once again Africa Hackon tend to host different events. Cyber Shuja is a very wonderful platform, right? So you need to get yourself acquainted with different events, because you're going to learn and be exposed to different skills, different knowledge, and it's very important for your career growth. And then finally, you need to give some sort of contribution. You need to give back to the community. It's very important. Being stingy with knowledge is not going to get you anywhere. That's one thing for sure. So it's very important to share. I'm going to share a little bit of an incident which had happened to me. So I know this guy, where I was trying to, acquire a little bit of information from him about bounty, how he gets bags and things like that. But unfortunately, that person kind of throw me on the bus. He didn't give me the information that I was looking for. He's like, no, Kareem, you just try your level best. Even me, I don't know even know what I'm doing, but it was a lie because we kept on seeing the amount of bounties he was getting from bounty here in Tanzania, right? So fast forward, what happened was this group of guys, recruiters, came to me and they were like, "Hey, Kareem, there's this person who we are trying to recruit. What's your opinion about them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know the guy, but unfortunately, he's not a person who is really open to share information. So yeah, you could hire him if that's where you want to go. But if he were me, I wouldn't really advise it because he's stingy with information, right? And oh, in most companies, they tend to like working with people as a team. So if you're stingy with information and it's a teamwork situation, then definitely nothing's gonna go well for that organization. So it's very important to give back to the community, not stay with the information that you have. I like to tell people that each person that you meet knows something that you don't know. That's totally true for everybody. So it's very, very important to share and very important to try and acquire as much knowledge from other people so that you can grow your knowledge and skills in the community. So that takes us to our next point, documenting your journey. That's very important. Once again, I can't stress on this because in Africa, seeing is believing. A lot of people trust what they see. So, for example, the example that I gave initially about the friend of mine who got um, employment opportunity in one of a reputable organization in Kenya was through his process of documenting. That shows, let me say, potential recruiters that you are able to document things in a proper manner and you're able to, and it gives them a preview of how you understand whatever you are doing in that CTF challenge, that, or let me say, competition that you participated. So it's very important to document, but not only documenting and staying with your documents, but sharing it with the world. So that's through the internet, so either on your LinkedIn, your Twitter, either on your GitHub, whatever you name it. It's very important to share that information. And at the end of the day, that's how you build your reputation in the industry, and people start noticing you, right? And then next, you need to pursue different certifications. Unfortunately, out here, without certification, without your degree, some sort of paper that proves that you have gone through some sort of formal education, it's gonna really help build your credibility. And certifications, your degree, help open doors that um, really never, you'll never thought would have opened. So it's very important to make sure that you are acquiring your degree, you're acquiring your certifications, whatever certification you want to pursue, feel free to do it. But also on the topic of certification, I need to also point this out. With certifications, before pursuing any type of certification, you need to understand what type of specialization in cybersecurity you want to pursue. It's very important because, in a layman's language, it doesn't make sense. For example, you want to be a pilot of a Boeing 747 and go and sit around and do an examination for an Airbus A380. Like, that's too contradicting information, right? So if you want to do a certification, understand what specialization in cybersecurity you want to get in. If it's GRC, if it's forensics, if it's red teaming, if it's malware analysis, you name it. There are specialized certifications based on the career that you want to pursue. Pursue them and then move forward. That's how you build your credibility. So I had to point that out to everybody so that people just don't go blindly doing OCP or CEH, and then your interest is not in red teaming or offensive security. No, there you need to make sure that the certification you're pursuing is related to what you're trying to achieve in your career. The next aspect is staying ethical and humble. Uh, I really, really can't stress on this. You trying to, for example, um, exposing vulnerabilities of systems that you have no business in is going to really destroy your reputation, because it goes against the ethics that are there in the industry, and nobody will want to work with you. So it's very important to use your skills for good. If you're trying to, let's say, help an organization X solve their problems, go to them, talk to them, uh, come to an agreement, terms of payment, etc., and then do the work. If you want to volunteer to help them out, very well and good. It's up to you. But it's very important to be ethical. You need to respect other people's privacy. Like, you just can't go and tampering in different systems and changing people's data or leaking people's data. Once people realize that you are the one doing such type of things, as I initially stated, that one, you're going to end up in prison. In Africa, once you get to prison, just know your career is done. Nobody will want to work with you. You need to understand that we are in Africa, not US. Stop watching all this Bollywood, scenes where s- somebody hacked NASA, and then at the end of the day they got employed. As you Kenyans say, vitu kwa ground ni different. Try that, you are finished. So it's very, very important to make sure you are very ethical. Hii mambo ya kuanguka nayo, hey my friend, hey, na wao wataanguka nayo. so so it's very important to not anguka nayo with people's systems without their permissions, right? Um, Another
Hey,
very
you have
important. Sorry, I guess I don't know if somebody wanted to say something, but okay, let me just proceed. Now, next comes to the aspect of creating your online brand. Like, this is very important, right? You need, for example, if somebody searches your name right now, we're gonna try that exercise in a few minutes. Well, let me just put it at the end. So just one moment. Let me just jot that down so that I don't forget. So online brand. Okay. Yeah. So you need to create your online brand just the same way you're trying to impress people at a physical realm. It's also very important to create your own persona when you get on the online space. Like, literally, it doesn't make sense when somebody searches your name, they first of all find very shady pictures of you on your social media platforms. That's gonna automatically get you disqualified, even though you're skilled and capable and competent. Let me put it that way. It doesn't really suit you well if somebody searches your name and they can't really grasp what type of specialization are you in. Are you in marketing? Are you a TikToker? Are you a cybersecurity expert? Like, the brand that you're supposed to create is, if somebody searches your name, the first impression they get, like, oh, so this person does X, Y, and Z. This person is in cybersecurity, right? That's very important. So you need to make sure from now on, if you have weird pictures that you've posted on your social media, go and delete them. Try post professional things, because people do judge you. So first impression really matters, not only on the physical perspective, but also on the virtual perspective. So that's on the internet. Very important. Um, the other aspect when we mentioned consistency matters, I think majority of the people why they tend to really lack back or not really succeed in cybersecurity in the levels of, as I mentioned, Dr. Bright, Madam Paula Musuva, etc. It's because they lack consistency. Consistency beats passion. You need to be very consistent in anything that you do in life. So this is one thing that I need also to emphasize on. If you want to thrive in cybersecurity, you need to be very consistent from day one. You need to understand that it's not going to be an easy journey. You're going to face hurdles along the way, but it's up to you to overcome them. If you don't, you're just going to give up. So I think I should also mention this point that if you think you're in cybersecurity because of you had person XYZ told you that cybersecurity is an industry which has a lot of money, well, they're not wrong. It's true, but getting the money, it takes time. And if you're not consistent, if you're not patient, then you'll never see that money. And you're going to end up depressed and exiting the industry. So you need to have the right reasons why you're getting into this space. So I thought I should also make that clear in that perspective. Yeah. So we go to the next point, which is becoming a subject matter expert. So this is where you share your opinion in different topics. What do you think that, for example, in the cybersecurity space, what is AI going to do for organizations? How are organizations going to benefit from this type of technology advancement that we're having right now? But not just only looking at the benefits, but also scrutinizing everything that's happening in the tech space, right? So you're just uh, creating a voice of yourself. So once you keep on doing that consistently with different topics in cybersecurity, it's going to help you. Number one, get noticed. People are going to be curious to understand, okay, who is this person criticizing or talking about XYZ? He seems like a very knowledgeable person in this space. Let's try and interact with him, right? So sharing your opinions, discussing trends. I think also this is very important aspect. Whatever trend that comes in, well, it's a lot of people tend to shy away from going with the bandwagon. But to be honest, it's very important if you wanna get noticed, right? So that people can see you as a subject matter expert in that space. So there's that bit, and then connecting deeply with people. I think with this perspective, you just whenever okay, let me just put it this way: whenever you're making posts on your online on your social media platforms, so that would be either LinkedIn, the likes of Instagram and X, you need to not just make your posts dry. They need to be able to connect with people and be able to touch their pain and be able to relate with them and show them that, hey, I understand what you guys are going through, and this is my opinion on a certain sensitive subject. So it's very important to connect at a deep level with people so that you can be able to get more following in this space. So I think majority of the well known cybersecurity expert in Kenya, that's what they have done. If you look at them, what they're doing, most of the things that I've mentioned up to now are the things that they're following. Like there's no magic when it comes to building your brand, building your success in cybersecurity. There's always a sequence of let me say not sequence, series of events that you need to do simultaneously in order to get at such elite levels. Okay, the next bit will be, it's very important for you to showcase your skills. Very important. If you gatekeep the skills that you have, then nobody is going to know that you have such type of skills, right? How I got to this level is through making noise in LinkedIn. When I say making noise, I mean making posts on different articles, doing research, and showing people that, hey, I'm just not a person who is talking, but I know what I'm talking about. I can walk the walk, right? So that's very important. You need to do research, you need to publish your work, you need to get into technical writing, you need to write blogs. That's how I got started anyway. Apart from just posting on LinkedIn, I started out by building my own platform, getting my hands dirty, as I mentioned earlier. Um, and appreciating really the role of system administrator, because right now I am managing my own personal website, trying to keep up with all the, let me say, activities that sysadmins do, right? That means securing different platforms that I have. That's how you build your skills. It doesn't have to be you getting employed to an organization for you to build up your skills. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You can take an initiative to build your own website. It just takes, for example, $5 to pay for a server in DigitalOcean, or if it's six. If you put in tax, if you get taxed like Tanzania right now, probably is gonna land at $7. For you students, $7 ni kidogo sana, you can manage, because if you spend a lot of money on partying and going out, having fun with friends, paying for your PS, buying a new iPhone, etc., then $7, it's penny on your pockets. So that's how you build your skills, gain hands-on experience. Yeah, so generally that's how you showcase your skills. Uh, GitHub is another very great space to showcase your product. There is one of my mentees. I got him from Kenya to Tanzania. In one of his interviews, he was asked, "Why should we hire you?" And he went directly to showcase his GitHub projects, and eventually he got hired, because that proved to the hiring manager that, yes, I am saying I know what I am saying, right? So if you say that I can work with Kali Linus, okay, prove to us. Have you ever built Docker? Have you ever worked with containers, and things like that? So you need to showcase your skills. Let me not spend much time there and bore you guys to death. So the other space is public speaking. This is very important because it creates visibility for you. This is something I did personally. I started getting into conferences. That's how I got started. I got to Isaka, Tanzania. That was my initial big conference, which I managed to go and attend, right? And do a presentation on. And from there, ever since, I proved my skills, my knowledge to the very experienced auditors who have been in the space for almost 20, 30 years. They impressed me because I managed to show that I know what I'm talking about. So for you guys, it's very important to make sure you go to such type of presentations. It doesn't have to be at an elite level, like Isaka, Kenya, for example. You can start with very small, let me say, conferences. Let's say, for example, if it happens you hear at Moi University, there's an event happening, you could ring the hosts. Hey, sorry, I hear that you have an event coming up on July, and I wanted to ask if there's a space for me to come and talk on topic XYZ. right? So whatever you are trying to ask for, it needs to relate to the theme of the event that you're trying to go and present to. Then later, after getting acquainted with that, later on, I moved to doing media interview. Now that's where now your let me say, um, should I say, brand keeps on expanding further. So it depends with what media outlets interviewed you, then it's the coverage that you're gonna be able to cover. Let me say your visibility in the space is gonna cover. So if let's say I know Citizen is very popular. If you get interviewed by Citizen or KTN with the likes, because KBC I know it's it has already been, I don't know if it's retired or not, but yeah, the likes of Citizen and KTN, if you get interviewed by them, then definitely your visibility is going to be very, very large. And that's the number one goal for you, to try and increase your visibility. Once people start seeing you on TV, then definitely people will want to work with you. And then you could also join podcasts, you know, and just share your knowledge of the industry. Um, yeah, so basically, that covers public speaking. So it's very important to do that. Now we go to additional strategies. I think I mentioned about following trends. That's very important. You need to create your own personal challenges. For example, I've seen people who, um, on LinkedIn, especially some of people in my network who will post things like 100 days of learning, let's say, SOC. Then every day they keep on posting updates. Today I've learned this, today I've learned that, today I've built this, today I've built that. So that keeps, you engaged with the internet and people who are surfing the web. And then publishing articles, that's very important. I think I've already talked about that. Yeah. And then also, I think when it comes to social media, right? It's one of the hugest mistake that people make is not tagging people. So if, let's say, for example, you've created an article and then you just posted it, it's only people who are following you are going to be able to see it. So it's going to be useless. Your visibility is still going to be zero. It's very important for you to tag people. Tag Karim because probably he has, let's say, 10,000 followers. Tag Dr. Bright because he has 20,000 followers. When you tag those type of people, then their network are going to see whatever task that you've done. And once people start seeing what you're doing, then definitely they're gonna now start keeping tabs on you. Now, here is where the previous point, which I pointed out, of consistency comes in. The more you keep on doing, people will be like, "Hey, so there's this boy, John. Oh, there's this lady, Jane. They're doing great stuff. You keep on posting, and don't shy away from writing articles which other people have already written. Because I tell people, you could be doing the same thing, but the way you execute it, it's going to be totally different. A lot of people have written articles about, let's say, Nmap and how to use it. But the way you're going to explain it, it's going to be totally different from the way another person is going to do it. Most likely, people are going to like your writing style. And that's how you become popular, right? For example, for me personally, when I got started in 2019 writing articles, I realized that in order for you to get a very small piece of information, you had to open almost 300 tabs on your laptop doing research day in, day out. I was like, hey, boss, this thing is not working for me, man. Right? So for me, I decided to, hey, I need to have a very centralized article where if somebody gets in and gets out with all the information that they were looking for. So that was my added value when I was starting out. So you could find your own added value. Where is the loophole? Look at it, try to utilize it, and that's how you get noticed because you're doing something different, even though it's still the same thing of writing an article. So don't shy away from writing articles, even though somebody has already done it. That's them. That's John, your Kareem, your Eve, you name it. It's you. So it's very, very important to, publish that type of articles. At the end of the day, you might end up, writing for blogs and articles for e-forensics, pen test magazines, and the likes, due to the experience that you're building. I know a lot of techies don't like writing. That's a fact, but you cannot escape it. And if you try your level best to do it, then you're just generally going to fail. So yeah, that marks the end of strategies on which you can use in order to grow your visibility on the internet. Now, let's get to the bit that the things that are going to break your career in cybersecurity. So it's very important. Now, number one, illegal hacking. As I said initially, we are in Africa. Stop watching series, stop watching movies, and thinking whatever is happening in Bollywood or whatever is happening in the US, you're going to be lucky enough here in Africa to get away with whatever is happening there. No. Fit will ground is different, guys. Here you're found hacking, yani that's one way ticket, prison, and nobody will ever want to work with you. One thing you need to understand is that in Africa, we operate with reputation, right? If your reputation is damaged, no matter how small it is, nobody will want to work with you. So you need to make sure you avoid illegal hacking, right? As you can see on the slide, there's no second chance in Africa. Hey, only God can give you second chance, third chance, etc. And probably your partner or your spouse, maybe, I'm not sure, but in the space, once you screw it up, you're done, right? So you need to be very careful with what you do. And then finally, there's the legal consequences. As I said, that's prison. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything here, right? So you need to avoid all those. Yeah, the next thing, avoid chasing the clout, right? That's something you guys need to avoid at your level best. So, for example, posting screenshots of the accounts you hacked, maybe that's career suicide. Nobody will want to work with you. You're finished. Bragging about illegal activities, same thing. You're gonna face legal consequences. Prison. People are gonna follow you, right? Um, in Kenya, you call it deep state or Dr. Futa, big time. So you need to be very careful with what you do on the internet. And then finally, leaking the tools and private data, and the likes. Now, once again, your professional life is just going to go down the drain. So you need to be very, very careful with all these, activities that you want to engage yourself. Also, there's this bit. Let me also point that out. That sometimes somebody can come to you because this is through experience anyway. Somebody is going to come to you and tell you, hey, let me say, John, sorry, so there's this gig, I think if you work together, it's going to really benefit from you. Trust me, the most important thing that you should be asking for in order to protect yourself from any legal consequences is, do you have letter of authorization, written document? It's very important. Letter of authorization is a piece of document where the organization or entity allows you to, let me see, just say hack, or okay, the best word should be system, to audit your system, their systems, without any implications, right? So it's very important to make sure whatever task in relating to cybersecurity you want to do, it doesn't matter if they're offering you millions, make sure they are giving you written documentation of the project. La sivyo, maybe I don't find it a big problem to, take a bus from Tanzania to Kenya to just come and say hi and, buy you fruits. It's not a big deal for me, you know. So you need to be very, very careful with that. Okay. Yeah. Toxic pride. That's the next thing. This is very bad. Um. You need to be very humble with each person that you meet, either if you know something or you don't know something. As I said initially, each person that you meet knows something that you don't know. And definitely you're gonna meet people who are better than you. Like even me right now, I I acknowledge I know people who are better than me, and it's fine, because everybody has their own strengths, everybody has their own ways of operating. So there's always going to be something for everybody. So having this toxic pride, I am better than somebody else, please leave that on the side. Having pride that I don't need a mentor, that's the most craziest thing that you're gonna ever do in your life, because a mentor is gonna help you cut down the number of years that you will spend trying to learn something into a couple of months. That's the job of a mentor. So it's very important to get a mentor, very important to ask questions, and uh, the confidence bit, you need to be humble. Okay. Avoid fake gurus. Unfortunately, the bottom bit, it's not visible. Let me see. My bad. Okay, so unfortunately it can't be seen. But basically here, what you're saying, avoid fake gurus. I'm sure most of you have seen in the internet where they say learn ethical hacking in 3 months, or in 1 week learn how to hack any type of system. Such type of shortcuts shouldn't be your number one priority. Trust me, even me up to date, even though I've been in the industry for a pretty long time, I'm still learning. The beauty of this industry is that every day there's something new for you to learn, and there's ah the space in cybersecurity is very, very big. Okay, not big, let me say wide, that there are a lot of things which you can learn and not finish. For example, you could be an expert in web application pen tests, right? You know, okay, I can say everything, but some of the things, and then you realize that, hey, there is Web 3.0, which you know nothing about, right? If just move out a little bit from your specialization, which is web app pen testing. Hello? Okay, yeah. So if you move away from your specialization, which is web app pen testing, then you realize, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so you'll realize that there are different domains apart from web app that you could venture in and still not finish all of them. So you could get into forensics. That's another headache. You could get into malware analysis. You could get to reverse engineering. You could get to GRC. And all these specializations I'm talking about, they are very, there's a lot of information that you need to acquire and experience in order to be an expert in that space. So in cybersecurity, there's no shortcuts. You just have to, like I can stress on that, you just have to go through the stress and pain that the industry is gonna throw things at you, right? The next bit is don't be secretive and isolated, right? Refusing to work with people, refusing to collaborate. This is gonna lead you missing different type of opportunities. Either, um, for example, as we say in the space, that there's different ways to kill the cat. But if you know one way and collaborate with the other people, either if it's in the community, by playing CTF competitions, etc., you're going to learn different ways on how to, um, let's say, scan a single target, right? You could realize from another person that, hey, apart from Nmap, there's this tool called mass scan, which is much faster and efficient compared to Nmap. So why don't we, utilize mass scan, right? So that's the beauty of collaborating and not isolating yourself. Even the cyber criminals themselves nowadays, it's usually a gang. So if the cyber criminals are working in groups, why do you want to isolate yourself and work alone? Right? So you need to think about that. Well, we've come to the end of my presentation. I know I can talk even for 5 hours. But my final message will be for you guys to try your level best to collaborate, work with each other, learn from one another. Don't give up. The industry is gonna throw very, very, um, let me say, hard challenges, but don't give up because the space is a very, like, you're in the right space. Let me put it that way. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having me here today. And it's an honor to share my knowledge and experience. It is to my hope at least one of you has picked one thing from this session. That's my hope. Well, yeah, so let me return this to the hosts. I'm not sure if you're going to have Q&A. I'm happy to answer any of your burning questions. Even if we stay here till tomorrow, I'm also happy.
Hi, Karim. Thank you so much for your presentation. I hope you can also see the applauses. Um, so I believe there are questions. People have questions. So let me start with Sylvia. Please go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Before we proceed, let me just do a demonstration of one point I think I mentioned about online branding. So,
Okay.
so for the online branding bit, this is how when somebody Google searches your name, so like right now, if you just Google search Karim I mean, on the internet, this is the type of information that people should be seeing. Like the first impression will be, okay, oh, so Karim is in cybersecurity, right? If they scroll down, all they see is information relating to security. So that's how you build your brand on the internet. It needs to be something like that. Not, for example, if you Google search Kharim Mchatta right now, all you see on the internet is, okay, this bit of Karim, he's in music, he doesn't even know what he's doing. This bit, he's in let me say art, and etc. etc. So it's very important to create your online brand. That when somebody searches your name on Google, they find related uh, Google search result based on a particular specialization, right? So that's very important. So yeah, I think that was it. What I wanted to share right now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I can see several hands, so you can start with Emmanuel Mutura. Emmanuel, please go ahead.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
you are.
Yeah, so thank you, Karim, for that presentation. It was quite insightful and it broke down a lot of things in a way that is easily understandable. So my question was just to ask,
Yeah.
in everything that you've mentioned, what are some of the mistakes that you've observed maybe in yourself or others that you would advise us to avoid from stuff like branding to certifications, all that combined? Thank you.
It's working.
Okay. So can somebody mute Ida? I think. Okay, perfect.
Let me just try.
Yeah, she's already muted. So awesome.
Okay.
Okay. So mistakes, yeah, there are a lot of mistakes. So when it comes to certifications, people tend to go with the bandwagon, as I mentioned earlier, right? Like, for example, people will hear a lot of, let me say, noises around OECP, CH, etc., and they'll want to go and do those type of certifications without understanding that, hey, I need to first of all know what I want myself in terms of the line of specialization which I want to go, and then focus on the professional certifications associated with that certification. So that's one. Number two, on branding, my lord. So, for example, here there are a lot of mistakes. So, for example, you'll find somebody using what's the word? Let me say alias instead of using their real names on social media. Who's gonna find you with the name John Wick? Like nobody, right? Or you're calling yourself the Black Ninja. What type of recruiter is gonna find you using an alias of Black Ninja, for example, right? So whenever you're doing personal branding, you need to make it easier for recruiter to find you, and also the content that you post, right? It's very important to be very, very selective with the content you put on the internet. So, for example, on Instagram, if the beauty of us human beings, we evolve, right? That's the beauty of it. If you've made a mistake, you've done that, you're one among those guys I've mentioned, then it's okay. You can start all over again and create your proper brand on the internet. Another thing is your emails. I've seen a lot of funny emails, and then people applying for work using those funny emails, like somebody calling themselves preciouslicious at gmail.com. You're applying for work. Like, hey, there's no way I'm giving you work. What's preciouslicious, right? So it's very important to use professional emails, professional names on your social media. Well, if you want to keep your account private, that's very well and good. It's fine. Nobody's gonna judge you, but it needs to be very professional when it comes to branding. Another mistake is, as I mentioned earlier, people get to post um, on their social media. Like, let's say they've done a research, they published it, but they don't tag people. That's one of the biggest mistake people are making, right? Because if you're having 5 followers, it's only your 5 followers who are going to see what you've published. But if you tag Dr. Bright right now, he has, I think, 15,000 followers. Then his followers are going to see what you're doing. And most likely somebody will want to work with you. So that's another mistake. Another bit is, I think I've already explained it on the presentation, people being stingy with information. That's a huge mistake. It's a no-no in this space. Another bit is in the perspective of reputation. You need to understand that cybersecurity is a very small space in different countries, especially developing countries, right? So everybody knows everybody. If you do one small mistake, like for example, right now, if I say I do, let me say, hack some government institution and I get to prison, then Kenya will know, Tanzania will know, Rwanda will know, Burundi will know, etc., and everybody within my cycle, and my reputation will have been gone, right? So, since it's a very small space, you need to be very careful with what you do. Yeah, you need to be very mindful with whatever action you take, right? Another bit, I think if you have something specific you want to know, I'll be happy to answer because I'm just going with what you just listed. But yeah, there are a lot of mistakes which people do make along the way. Yeah, I hope I've answered your
Okay.
question.
Yes, you have. I'll get in touch for more questions. Thank you.
Awesome.
Enoch, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Emmanuel.
Yeah, Emmanuel.
Hope you can all you can hear me.
Yeah. Affirmative.
So I'm asking. I've checked your LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
I've seen you have a lot of experience in job and everything. So
Yeah.
my question is, uh, what are the odds of someone getting a job in cybersecurity with only certifications and no degree, and no any after just high school you go do certifications like this one, Sebashuja and Moring and other stuff like Search and other stuff? What is the odds of that person getting a job with no degree?
Okay. Great question. Well, let me just say generally, whether you have a degree, no degree, it all your odds are still 50-50. It doesn't matter. Like even I myself came to Tanzania initially. I had my master's in Czech, but still I wasn't able to land any role. Right. So it doesn't matter whether you have a degree, you don't have a degree. Your odds are still 50-50. So the ground is equal. Let me put it that way for everybody in cybersecurity. So let me just give you a piece of it's going to be like an advice and secret for you to make it, not only you but everybody who is here, to be able to land their first role. So the biggest secret is, drum rolls, connect with people. It's people who give you opportunities, not your skills. Yes, it's very important to have the skills, but if you don't know anybody, it's as good as nothing. Whether you have your degree, whether you have your PhD, whether you have, you name it, whatever qualifications you have, if you don't know nobody, unless if it's by the grace of God, then definitely you're going to land one. Well, there's always exceptions to the rules, right? But the most important thing is for you to get connected with people, right? Your network is your net worth. Take that statement seriously. That's the best I can tell you. So don't worry whether you have your stats, you have your degree, it doesn't matter. Get connected to people. Trust me. I usually tell people here in Tanzania, the elder people, right? I usually tell them, I've gotten to a point where I've realized that you'd rather have a son or daughter who is in Form 4 or is a Form 4 dropout, and you're well connected to the teeth, they will survive in this world compared to a person who has um, compared to a person who has a degree. It doesn't mean they wouldn't survive. Don't get me wrong. Degrees are very important. Please don't quote me badly. Hey, disclaimer. Get your degrees, get your education right. Right. But what I'm saying is, apart from getting your degree, apart from getting your sats, apart from doing whatever you want to do, getting your experience, get connected to people. Very important. Your network is your net worth. Yes, that's very important. I hope I've answered your question, Emmanuel. Yeah.
Yeah, but my main question I wanted to ask is, like for you, how can you tell a person to invest his money in certifications or to just go to degree?
Sorry, backtrack again. Sorry, my bad.
I'm
To
asking,
tell. Yeah.
If you were to tell a person,
Yeah.
how can you tell that person to invest his money in degree in certifications?
Okay. I can't tell them to have. I don't have a preference. I'll tell them go for all if you can. Go for all. That's the most important thing. As I said initially, your degrees are very important because they're going to open doors. Don't get me wrong, right? But also in the industry, people, okay, let me put it this way. If you advertise for a job right now, probably most likely 1 million people. So, for example, in Kenya, 1 million people are going to apply for that role. So, how do you reduce the number of people from 1 million to probably 10 people who you're gonna, get them on board for the interview. So they're gonna keep the check boxes for you. Do you have a degree? Yes, tick. Do you have a certification? What type of certification do you have? Is it CH, CHFI, depending on the role that you're applying for? Yes, you do. Okay, perfect. Move to the next round, right? Do you meet their criteria? Because nowadays AI is the one that does your screening. So that's why majority of the people who tend to apply online, either if it's through LinkedIn and things like that, their CV literally never gets to the HR because it's the AI who is doing the screening, right? So what I'll advise you is don't be biased. It's just like, in simple terms, let me just end my response with this. In simple terms, you are way better off being a warrior in a farm rather than being a farmer in a war zone. So having all this certification, your degree, those are your weapons. All you're waiting for is the opportunity where if the deer passes near you, you shoot it, you eat. If it doesn't pass by that time, don't worry. Your time will come. A deer will pass by. You'll be able to persevere. So all these check boxes, you need to meet them in order to even get the interview, right? So that's one bit. The second bit, which I'm going to tell you, is it depends with the organization, right? There are some organizations who prefer having people who has specific certifications. They wouldn't care about your degree. So like one organization I know of is called Secura, is in the Netherlands. They value your certifications, right? And even apart from you having the certification, they're going to give you an online assessment where they give you a box for you to hack and write a report and then send that report to them for them to review whether they're going to pick you or not to move to the next round. So it all depends. But for me, what I'll advise you, pick all if you can. Hope I've answered your question, Emmanuel. Sorry, I didn't get it initially, but hopefully I've answered your question right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Cheers. Anybody else?
I can see Onyuro. Please go ahead. And then you can do Edward and Aquila in that order.
And there's Jean
Thank you so
too, I think.
He's the same person as Onyuro.
Oh, Onyuro. Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
My bad.
Thank you. So, good evening to you. Thank you for the interactive session you held today. Yeah, it's been quite informative.
Thank you.
My question is on building your social media presence. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how do you stay relevant, original without plagiarism? Because you've talked about the cybersecurity space being a small, neat community,
Yeah.
and it may be a concern at one point that maybe my content has already been shared by someone else, of which that's probably the case, because being in the field, you don't know what other people have written. So doing research, you find that this and this has already been spoken about. Actually, just on that, I checked your YouTube because it was
Yeah.
shared on the link. What's the name?
Hackett.
Planet something. No,
Oh,
it's something.
the Cyber Planet. Yeah. The
Yes,
podcast.
yes, the podcast. So checking that, I noticed you were giving so many scenarios of cyber threats and cyber scenarios that have happened over time.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that's been spoken about because it's actually been researched on, and there are big organizations that are talking about. So what happens when it comes to plagiarism on the content you're sharing, on what you're actually putting out there? Is there an issue when it comes to sharing content or anything along those lines? That's number one.
Wait, there's another
Number
question?
two,
Okay. Because that's it.
sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so on number 2, Kenya, we've had I'm not here to offend anyone, but I have to say that there has been an issue over the years called nepotism. And you talked about something here, which may be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on whichever light you're looking at it from.
Yeah.
So it's very discouraging to hear that I have to actually know people to be able to land my job in cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
My papers don't matter, my skill set doesn't matter. I have to actually know people. That is
Yeah.
very, very discouraging from in my
Yeah.
point of view.
Totally understand. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what I also wanted you to emphasize on, like build my network, know people so that I can
Yeah.
get work, or
Mm-hmm.
I can actually put myself out there and learn. That is something I also wanted you to also
Elaborate.
elaborate on. Yes, thank you.
Awesome. So,
Okay.
okay. So number one, let me apologize to everybody in advance for I don't know if I came out harsh or I don't know. Let me just put it that way. But so um, let me put it this way. So let me start with the second question before going to the first one. For you to land a role, it doesn't mean that it's strictly for you to be able to know people, for you to really, land your role. It doesn't mean that way. But it's people who open doors for you. That's just what I'm trying to say. Because, like, for example, if let's say I am in cybersecurity, and I mentioned earlier I have one of my mentees who I brought to Kenya. I did that because I know him and I know his skills. I know his abilities. I recommended him to a company in Tanzania, and he managed to fly. I mean, to pass with flying colors, right? So, knowing people is gonna ease. Let me use the word ease your chances of getting work, but it doesn't mean that if you don't know anybody, you will never land I mean, you will never land a role. But if you if you have a combination of all these things, you are at a higher advantage. Like, for example, if you have the skills, you have the certifications, you know people, right? So knowing people doesn't mean like your uncle, your auntie. No, I mean that people know you based on your skills. Then definitely it's gonna be easy for somebody to recommend you. That's what I mean. So I hope I've cleared the air. So I'm really sorry if I've caused confusion. And Cybersecurity, please invite me again. But yeah, so that was for the first question. For the second bit, so okay, so this year we were running our third cohort, right? We got to a point where we had two to three mentors teaching the same topic. So, for example, one of the topics being taught was on data protection, right? But we had three mentors who were covering that. What I believe is, yes, somebody has done it, but the way you'll explain it is going to be totally different from the way somebody else has explained the same concept. So for me, some of the mentors brought that to my attention, and I'm like, hey, relax. Yes, the topic is the same, but the way you're going to structure it, the way you're going to talk about it, the way you're going to convince people about data protection and its importance and the need of more, we call them DPOs in the industry, is totally going to be different from another person, the way they're going to deliver their content, right? So that's why initially I said it doesn't matter what somebody else has done. What's really important is the way you are going to explain it, because the way you've understood something is totally different from the way another person has understood it. I think you've been in a situation where um, the teacher, the way uh, he or she explained, let's say, law of physics, majority of the students didn't understand. And then you'll find that particular one person who will just come up, set up the group discussion, have a conversation with him, and everybody go, oh, so that's what the model meant. You know, it's because people explain things differently. Even, for example, in my high school, I had two physics teachers. The way each physics teacher explained the concepts of physics was totally different. One wasn't really as experienced and knowledgeable as the other. So let's say A and B. So A wasn't really experienced, but the way he'll teach you is he'll teach you with passion in a way that if you don't understand, you need prayers. And then the teacher who was the best in physics, give him any type of physics equation, he'll solve it. My Lord, people used to complain. So that's what I'm trying to drive as a point, that it doesn't matter who has written what, but the way you deliver the content. You've talked about my podcast. Yes, there are a lot of people who have written uh, researches on, let's say, Tinder Swindler and things like that, right? Kevin Mitnick. But the way I've explained it, the way I've set up my visuals are totally different from everybody else, right? So that's the most important thing, for you to become creative and innovative within whatever space or aspect you're trying to, drive a point on. So, is it Jane? Yeah. I hope I've answered all your questions. If I haven't, please feel free to rephrase them and try to again to answer.
Thank you.
Please don't, and one thing, please don't get discouraged, because everybody has their own journey, right? As I said, the people who are gonna seem way ahead, the people who are gonna get jobs because they know somebody, there are people who are gonna get jobs because of their skills. And one thing I need to tell you, cybersecurity is not confined within the borders. You can apply in Tanzania. Why suffer in Kenya? You can apply in US. We are not border confined. So if there is no, okay, I'm gonna leave you with this. There's this friend of mine I met in Kenya. His name is Shalom. I don't know if you've heard of him, but whatever the case, his name is Shalom. He once told me that, Kareem, if there's no opportunity where you are, create your own opportunity. So that's something I'm gonna leave you with. And this is for everybody, by the way. So yeah. Next question.
Edward, I can see we're also time bad. So Edward, Glenn, and then we'll close with Aquila Bright.
They can follow me on the site on my social media.
Yeah, sure.
As much questions as you can.
Yes, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mchatta, for this exceptional presentation and for the mentorship.
Welcome.
So
Welcome.
my name is Edward Masese. I have a background in forensic science.
Okay.
Currently, I'm doing ethical hacking essentials.
Mhm.
However, I was from the digital forensics essentials because I felt that if I match my background with the digital forensics, I'm gonna be a forensic, as that was something that has been in me since I graduated.
Okay.
So I'm now asking, is ethical hacking something that can relate 100% with the forensics?
Not really. No. Those are two different spaces. So you just have to pick one, because you can't be a master of all, unfortunately, when it comes to cybersecurity. Maybe other okay, let me not specialization, let me say other industries, maybe. But for cybersecurity, unfortunately, you can't be everywhere, right? So you just have to pick a line of specialization. So if it's forensics that you're interested in, focus on that, specialize on that, and then you can venture from a point of knowledge view in ethical hacking. So just trying to keep up to date with what's happening, knowing your tools and etc. Because, for example, in forensics itself, digital forensics, there are millions of things that you need to learn. And I don't think you can be able to learn all of them like in a single go and then say I've exhausted everything. You haven't met different scenarios, different cases in relation to digital forensics. So my advice for you will be it's find the one that you love the most, specialize in that, and then make the other specialization as a point of venture and just to grab the knowledge. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. To Rorin, can I kindly reach you out via the email so that I can be able to deliberate with you more in person?
Yes, sure. Glenn, or was it Aquila? Ake muda unatupa kisogo. Why? Glenn, Aquila, Graham, we close it there, and then if you want to connect with Mchatta, he'll tell you how you can do that. Right, Mchatta?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Okay. My question. I only have one question.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you have to protect a company, especially I work for an NGO. So if you were to protect a company with almost no budget, what would be your top 3 maybe priorities that you'd consider?
Okay. So since your situation is an NGO, no budget, I think the best approach will be awareness to your employees, set up policies, have good policies in place. What else? Yeah, there's always open source tools. You can utilize that. Kali Linux is free. It has plenty of tools. Yeah, I think those will be my 3 strategies.
Okay,
Bright?
thank you.
Okay, cheers. Bright, your question?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Bright Aquila, and my question is, how do you identify a mentor? Which is the best way to approach them? And what are the factors you will consider when you pick a mentee? You as a person who has thrived in the cybersecurity field. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, before you exit, before you mute, rather. So your question is number 1, how do you pick a mentor, right?
Yeah, how do I identify a mentor?
Oh, identify, okay. And then the second bit?
Which is the best way to approach them?
Okay, yeah,
And
next?
what are the factors
Mm-hmm.
you as a mentor you will consider when you pick a mentee?
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome, thanks, I got them. Okay, so number 1, how to identify a mentor. So number 1, so a mentor doesn't okay, so let me put it this way. It's not a must for you to have a single mentor. So let me just clear the air. You can have mentors in different domains. You can have a mentor in, let's say, tech. You can have a mentor in spiritual aspect. You can have a mentor in, you don't have to stick to one because, yes, as much as somebody is experienced, they cannot know it all. So you can have mentors in different spaces, right? But a good way to identify somebody, okay, so for me, on my perspective, brother, is number 1, to check the experience. Who are they in the industry? What have they done? And then after that, you need to try your level best to gather as much information about them. What have they done? Uh, where do they work? If they have any sort of publications to prove their experience and exposure, because having a mentor is having somebody that you as a person want to shadow. So apart from that, it needs to be a person that you admire. Like for example, it could be that you admire, let's say, what's his name, IPSEC, for example, right? Or John Hammond. If that's a person that you admire because of their character, because of how they interact with people, because of their wealth of knowledge, because there are different things which can make you get attracted to somebody. So whatever it is, then they need to be something that you can identify and say, hey, I want Dr. Bright to be my mentor because he's good in cybersecurity, because he's a very outgoing person, he's very approachable. So you've already identified that, you're good to go, right? Then next, best way to approach them. Well, the best way will be um, go to the places where they're available and they are not busy. So, for example, if Dr. Bright is the person that you want him to be your mentor, you could go to one of his events, attend, and then introduce yourself. Hey, Dr. Bright, my name is Jean. Okay, yeah, for example, yeah, my name is Jean, right? Second year student in JQuat, for example. Um, I'm trying to, learn cybersecurity. Can you please be my mentor? Very respectfully, very politely. Most of them will agree. So if they don't agree during the first time, feel free to follow them on the second time, third time. You need to be persistent. And then finally, you asked about factors to consider somebody to be my mentee. So I don't know if you looked at it. I mean, if your question is on a holistic approach or just from my perspective, I'm not sure, but I'm going to answer it this way. Number one, majority of mentors want somebody who is aggressive and self-driven, right? Nobody has time to spoon feed you everything. So if you're a person who is waiting to be spoon fed, then definitely nobody would want to work with you. So for example, if you'd approach somebody, okay, let me say, for example, me, and be like, hey, Karim, I'm trying to learn about cybersecurity and all that. I really like your work, what you're doing, and I want you to be my mentor. So the first thing I will definitely do is send you some reading materials and tell you, go and read. Once you're ready, come back. Majority of them don't. So that's how even us, the mentors, try to weed out majority of the non-serious people, because we don't want to work with serious people, because we are sacrificing our time in order to help you grow. So if you're not serious, you're not aggressive to want to learn, then why even should we bother ourselves with you, right? So there's that. And then another bit I tend to look at is the character of the person. Who are you as a person? Not on the internet, but truly you. Not in front of people just because you met somebody on the first time, because most of us, you meet somebody for the first time, you tend to keep this type of image that you're a lovely person and all that. But I look at you on the perspective of who are you once you're comfortable with somebody. So that's the character bit. Are you trainable? Are you somebody who is self-driven? Even I myself, when I initially approached my mentor, he gave me a box to hack to understand my level of skills, which I did, came back with a written report. And then from there, he started, sending me back, okay, go and read this, go and read that. I went and did whatever he instructed me to do, but also not only what he instructed me to do, and also added my own efforts to go beyond what he instructed me to do. So those are some of the characters that majority of mentors tend to look for. So yeah, and also don't be, okay, let me say, be true to yourself. Don't act, because eventually people will know your true nature and it will end well. So yeah, be yourself. I guess that's it, Lauren. I can see there's Salim, and then
Yeah.
there's McQueen. They have
Salim.
questions. I don't know if you want me to pick them up, or I'm happy to stay. I'm okay.
Okay. So those are the very last, the last.
Awesome. I think Salim, you can go ahead with your question. Salim. Okay, so I guess he's not there. And then okay, yeah, these are the things that I've been talking about branding. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spotlight. But yeah, I don't know if it's Mahwan. Sorry, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your
That's
name.
just a code.
No, I do understand, but yeah, I'm trying to read it. But yeah, should I ask you a question? Hello.
The mic is on, but no one is speaking, so I don't know.
Well, I guess they don't have any questions, so I think we can just call it a night then.
Yes, we can call it a night. Thank you so much, Karim, for your time. Thank you also for those who have attended. We'll meet in tomorrow's class, 8:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. Have a good night. Bye.
So, quick question: how can they get in touch with me? Will you share my LinkedIn or something? Because I'm sure people have a lot of questions, but they're
Please
shy
put
to
it on the
ask.
chat. You can actually put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me just do that in a second. So, guys, feel free to ping me anytime. I'm happy to share my knowledge, my experience, whatever question you have. Totally happy to interact with anybody and everybody. Yeah, just be respectful. That's it.
And they can also follow you on LinkedIn. They can also check your podcast as well.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Receive your flowers.
I've received them. Thank you all.
I can't see it yet. Are you typing?
No, I did send it.
You typed?
Okay, let me just send it again. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, so it's refusing. So okay, let me just do this. I don't know if it's okay with you. Let me just
Excuse.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm saying try typing in the Q&A section. It's working.
Oh, okay. So let me
Yeah.
try that. That. Okay, yeah. So Kharim Mchatta, yeah. Yeah, that's it. So feel free to ping me anytime. Yeah, and yeah, I'll be happy to answer all your questions. Yeah. Lorraine, thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate it for the platform and for me to, give back to the community. And really, it's been a wonderful session. I don't regret it.
Thank you. I hope it won't be the last as well.
Not really. You'll get tired of
All
me.
right.
So,
All right, sawa. So good. Should I say good night? It's almost
evening.
time, but anyway. Sorry?
It's good evening.
All right, see you good people. Bye. Blessed night.
Bye-bye. Good night to all. Cheers. Bye.
Hey, bro.